Hello my dear friends and welcome to my channel. My name is Barbara and today we're going to be looking at Mercury in the second house. So this video is for you if you do have this placement. If you're a cross watcher, welcome as well. This video is based on Western tropical astrology. First we're going to be looking at what Mercury means, then we're going to be looking at what the second house means, and then we're going to put it all together. So Mercury is all about your communication. It is how you think. It is how you communicate your thoughts, so it's your intellect as well. It's all about your siblings. It can also deal with technology and short distance travel. The second house is ruled by the sign of Taurus and Venus. So when a person has Mercury in the second house, you guys are going to be ruled by all these Taurus-like things, all these Venusian-like things. You guys want the finer things in life. You guys want luxurious things. You guys want the money. Money's always going to be on your mind. It's going to be a huge motivation for you. Keep in mind, the second house bounces off of the 8th house. So you guys might be secretive about this. You guys might not expose this. You guys might not be the types of people who right off the bat when someone meets you expects you to be like this, right? Because again, you're bouncing off of the Scorpio-like energy, so you could be secretive about this. You guys could hide this about yourselves, that you guys really want the luxurious things in life. That you guys are very, very motivated by money. That's the thing, when you have Mercury either in the second house or the 8th house, Taurus, Scorpio, the money access. Money is always going to be your motivation. What you guys really have to do is be passionate about making money. The more money that you guys make, the more money that you guys are going to basically bring through. Now, alternatively, okay, because it can quickly fall into the shadow energy of this, you guys can fall into survival mode. That Taurus energy, sometimes I do see it ruling the root chakra, because the root chakra does deal with our finances, our security, our financial security, and our survival. So sometimes you guys might feel like you guys don't have enough, or you guys might get stuck into a survival mode when you guys don't really need to be in a survival mode anymore. You guys did achieve some sort of status or some sort of wealth or some sort of financial comfort in your life, and you guys are still in that mentality of back in the day when you guys didn't have it, so you guys still feel like you need more. You know, this could really happen with this placement where it's like you guys are constantly in the survival mode, where it's like you're constantly looking to find a way to advance your financial status. But it's actually interesting because when you guys are in this energy, it can be to your detriment because you guys aren't enjoying. That's a huge thing to understand, because Taurus is really here to enjoy that second house. That's really what that second house is all about. You guys are here to enjoy, but sometimes you guys might fall into the energy where you guys aren't enjoying all of the things that you guys have achieved, because again, you guys could be in that survival mode. This is what's taking up your mental space. You're always thinking about money. How can I get the money? How can I, achieve that luxurious thing? How can I get that house? How can I get that car? It's really all about the material plane and mastering the material plane. And most of the time, this placement does master this. It is a wealth placement. Okay, when we look at wealth placements in a natal chart, Mercury in the second house is very much a wealth placement, because again, you guys are so focused on money, and then you bounce off of that 8th house energy where it's like Scorpio has to be very much laser focused on something, and they achieve it because all of that mental energy goes into that thing. Keep in mind, this is really what manifestation is all about. So you guys are focused on a goal, you have the thought, you constantly think about that thought, it turns into emotional energy, and boom, that's how you manifest, because you're constantly thinking about it. So it's like, when you're in this energy, there's no way for it not to manifest. But again, you guys can fall into the shadow where it's like you guys are getting those things, but you're not enjoying them. So sometimes you guys can fall into the energy where it's like you're not enjoying it, or you're petty about your money, or it's like you guys could fall into like a stingy energy, because again, there's like the remembrance of being in survival mode in one way, shape, or form, where you guys constantly have to work to get to where you guys are trying to get to. But it's like finally, if you get to that place, if we look at life in general, like nothing's ever going to be enough. You're always going to want more. You're always going to want to get to the next goal, the next destination. But it's like the question comes down to, especially with this placement, when are you going to enjoy the things that you guys have built for yourselves? Because that's really the placement. It's like earlier in your life, you're building. That's really what that is. You're building towards something. You're building towards whatever your goals are. Maybe it's to buy a house. Maybe it's to get a car. Maybe it's to get a certain type of watch, certain type of, clothing style, like these types of things. That's really what the Mercury in the second house is all about. And you guys are always thinking about this. And this is how you guys communicate as well. When it comes to things surrounding financial matters or material things, you guys can either come off very generous, because you guys are in that indulgent energy where it's like, oh, I'm going to share with everyone because I'm feeling abundant right now. Or you guys can come off petty where it's like, don't touch that thing. I worked for it. That's my purse. Don't touch it. That takes place when you do have this placement in terms of communication. But overall, in terms of money and money matters, you guys are going to be highly intellectual. You're always going to be looking for ways to make money. You guys are always going to be very much savvy, and that area is really what it is in terms of money. So things like maybe working in banks, being financial advisors, like these types of institutions where you're working with money, it could also be beneficial for you. But it doesn't necessarily mean that this is the only industry you have to work in. There's so many things to look in a natal chart to see what's really going on and what career you guys can pick for yourselves, because it's like I mentioned earlier, you guys really just have to be passionate about making money. You'll always find ways to make money. You guys could even be an entrepreneur. You guys could even run your own business, because again, you guys are always going to know what it is that's going to bring the money to you guys, because you're bouncing off of that 8th house. Keep in mind, these oppositions bounce off of each other. So you guys are bouncing off of the 8th house, and the 8th house, again, knows psychology. They know what people need. And again, when it comes to money, it's like you know what to sell to that person, or you know what to say to sell to that person. Very good place for a sales position, customer service, like these types of things where you're interacting with people and you're selling something, even if you're looking to get clients for your own business or whatever it is really, really a good placement. And you guys are always on to the next thing, because again, you're bouncing off of the 8th house, Scorpio energy. Now, the sign that you have in Mercury is obviously going to affect this. And when we're looking at the natal chart, whatever sign you have in your 2nd house, your Mercury, you're going to look at the opposition as well to see what you have in your 8th house, because that's going to be the area you guys are going to be laser focusing on, okay? So like, let's say you guys have your Mercury in Aries, then you're going to have your 8th house in the sign of Libra. So when it comes to financial things, the Mercury in Aries is pushing you to be an entrepreneur, but the 8th house is obsessing, right? How can I sell things to people? How can I sell this item to this person? How can I use my connections and, you know, the people that I know and my interpersonal relationships to get me to my business goals? This is really the whole thing with astrology is pretty amazing, because there's so many different configurations that could really play out on a person's natal chart. So really, really important to see what you have going on in your Mercury. But overall, this is what the house is about. It's all about your personal finances, making money, how to make money. Your mind's always on money. Again, you don't want to be overly focused, because it's like if you're overly focused, then there's like the desperate energy, and you don't really want to be stuck in survival mode, because then you fall into like that poverty mentality. So a lot of lessons around abundance when you do have this placement, okay? Because again, you're thinking about it, and then later on, maybe you guys can write about it, maybe you guys can speak about it, maybe you guys can teach people how to make their own money. You know how there are YouTubers who teach people how to invest, or who teach people how to do crypto, or whatever it is. I'm kind of giving you guys random examples. They could even be teaching people how to create their own business, okay, how to sell something, how to be a good salesperson. That's really what Mercury is. You're talking, you're communicating. So this is the area that you guys are basically going to be thinking about, communicating, and you guys are going to have a lot of knowledge, because that's what Gemini is. That's really what Gemini is, because Mercury is ruled by Gemini. So that's really what Gemini is. Gemini knows a lot of things. They gather a lot of knowledge. Another thing that's been coming through in the series is it can be an area where you constantly need stimulation in. So keep in mind, right? Because it's like as quickly as you guys can make the money, you guys could also lose it, because you guys can go into that overly indulgent energy. And keep in mind, bouncing off of that 8th house Scorpio energy, where it's like Scorpio can fall into addictions. They can fall into obsessions. So you guys can fall into things like gambling, or, you know, doing investments without actually knowing how to do investments, like trading and these types of things. So keep that in mind, okay? You guys can really fall into the extreme, because again, also Scorpio, the 8th house that you guys are bouncing off of, operates on extremes. So this could be something that takes place, but overall, this is the Mercury in the 2nd house. Money's on your mind, thinking about it, talking about it, dreaming about it is really what that is, like in your sleep, like your dreams, right? So this is really the whole thing with Mercury in the 2nd house. I do hope you guys did enjoy my video on Mercury in the 2nd house. If you did, please do like, share, and subscribe. And I hope you all have a beautiful rest of the day.